Hi, I'm Lena Hoof. I'm a Brazilian journalist and I've worked in different spheres of the wine world for over 10 years, including port wine production. I've been invited by the School of Port to speak about vegan wine as I follow a preferably vegetarian diet and I tend to look for vegan alternatives for everyday products. We're in Foz right now, which is a really unconventional but at the same time pretty symbolic place to be speaking about port wine, as millions of casks filled with port wine have made their way along these waters to reach all four corners of the world. Why are some port wines vegan? Or better yet, why are some port wines not vegan? Well, this question also applies for all other types of wine, as it usually concerns a very late stage of the production, just before bottling, that's called fining, or in a less technical wording, filtration. In this process, the winemaker is going to want to make sure that they obtain a liquid that's as clear and translucent as possible. And for that, they might make use of some animal-derived products like casein, that's present in cheese, or egg whites, or isinglass, which is a substance that's present in the swim bladders of some fishes. Now you might want to ask why. That's because all these products have something in common, which is that they're high in a specific type of protein that has the particular property of attracting particles to themselves or binding to them, making it easier later on to sort out these sediments and obtain a clear and translucent liquid. So the question is, how can we differentiate port wines that have undergone a fining process with animal sourced products from ones that haven't? Well, my first tip is to look for that little green label that says vegan. There are other ways of playing it safe. You can also look for the specific word unfiltered on the label, or you can up your port knowledge game and understand a little bit what styles of port are more or less likely to undergo fining because of their essential characteristics. For example, vintage ports are meant to age, right? They're meant to age in the bottle. And for that, they need all the phenolic compounds they can get, like tannins and color molecules. But some of these might get taken away with the filtration. So that's why vintage ports are bottled unfiltered. Likewise, crusted ports are also bottled without any fining, so safe ground there. Now for LBV, it might get a little bit trickier because, well, it depends. But a precious clue is to look at the cork. So if it's a driven regular cork, then that might mean that the wine can age a little bit longer in the bottle. Whereas if it's a stopper cork, then you know that the wine is definitely not meant for aging. So that means it has a higher chance of having been filtered. So stay away from it. Now, if you're looking for a tawny port, then you might want to look for the older styles like 20, 30 or 40 years old. That's because in these wines, the majority of the final blend will have spent so much time inside the casks that gravity will have had enough time to do its own work and allow particles to naturally sink to the bottom of the vats. As for white ports, it's pretty much the same as for tawny. So you might want to look for an older style like 20, 30 or 40 years old. But keep in mind that the market usually values a much brighter, much clearer color for white wines, even if it's a port wine. So there is a higher chance that a white port will be filtered. Younger styles of port, like a ruby or tawny without age specification, these wines are filtered in most cases, if not all. But that doesn't mean there aren't any alternatives out there. Nowadays, a winemaker can count on many alternatives like plant or mineral-based fining agents like bentonite or lentil flour or pea protein, which are more and more common and which do the trick. Or they can also, use mechanical filtration. But in this case, you're gonna need a clear statement from the producer guaranteeing that you're good to go. Lastly, an important matter that not many people talk about when you speak about vegan port, when looking for a producer, you should look for a producer that's genuinely committed to sustainable practices in the vineyard as well as in the cellar. Because, for example, the use of synthetic pesticides will compromise the survival of beneficial insects, like bees, which are very, very important. So, to sum it up, 2 tips. Inform yourself, know your producer, know their production methods, know their practices, and stick to the good old vintage, or crusted if on a budget. Okay, thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned to the School of Port to know how to navigate the port world, and we'll see each other around. Bye.